welcome to the Women Waves podcast. This is our last episode of season 2, which is very exciting, and we've got some wonderful women on with us today to finish off the season. So we've got the lovely Attika Choudhary, who we're going to be speaking to. We've got the wonderful Nat Rossetti and Emma from the Girls Network. So if you ladies want to tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you've been up to, what you do, I think that would be a great way to start. Attika, if you want to go first.
Wow, what have I been up to? Well, I was talking to you girls a couple of weeks ago on my podcast, so thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's been really good. I love the fact that Positive Solace and Women Waves are joining forces. We're coming to get the women.
We are.
It's been an unusual time, obviously for us, and as I probably spoke to you girls some time ago, that obviously I've been working on the podcast Positive Solace and sort of motivating, encouraging women to have discussions about women from all across the world. Meanwhile, doing other bits and bobs, like trying to write a documentary and write a feature film, which is taking ages, to be honest.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah, I hope so.
And a feature film's hard. Is that the first thing you've done? Is that the first thing you've written?
Yes.
If you're going straight into a feature film, that's big stuff.
That is my first. It's going to be my first, I think. And you've heard it here first. But it's based on a true story. And things take such a long time just to get the development process. You know how it is. You know, when you're writing something, you've got an idea, and then you've got to do some research around it. And it's based on a true story. So that's sort of taking a bit of time because I'm working on a case study and just sort of developing the storyboard. How do I visualize it? So it's been really fun, and I don't know how it's going to pay forward after that, but let's see. So it's a very busy time, but also I've taken a very much slower pace in life this year. I just realized how I've been rushing around trying to do things this last few years or even before that, and now I want to take a slower pace in life. So I've been sort of taking it a bit easy. I feel like not being lazy. I wouldn't call myself lazy, but I've just been taking things a slower process because I want to try process everything I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny because you say you're taking it slower, but you're still doing a very successful podcast. You've just written a feature film. You're a journalist. So there's a lot going on. It's really exciting. We've also got Nat Rossetti from the Girls Network. Hi, Nat. Welcome back.
Hi, thank you so much.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Nat, I'm head of communications at the Girls Network, and we're a charity that matches teenage girls like Emma with a professional female mentor. And the idea is to empower and inspire them to be ambitious for their futures and be the best they can be, and give them the skills, the confidence and the opportunities to reach for the stars. We've been, what have we been up to? We've been really, really busy. Obviously, you know, the last year has thrown up all sorts of challenges and questions, but our team has been really, really amazing at just keeping the programs going, and we've continued to match girls with mentors. We've started working with new schools in new areas. We've been loving actually some of the virtual opportunities. So actually bringing all our girls from all our 8 regions nationally together for virtual workshops has actually been something that's been really fun and really positive, because girls from different regions are now getting to know each other. So we're sort of hanging on to the silver linings and carrying on dealing with the challenges and just trying to move forward. And the goal is always to grow and reach more girls and stay in touch with all the girls that we've ever mentored. So
amazing. Yeah, it's almost like, although it's been a pandemic, you've managed to connect more people together, because sometimes, you know, the opportunities of like just jumping on a Zoom call is a lot easier than organising an actual event.
There's definitely efficiencies to be found, and I think as well as the logistics, more people I think have been impassioned, and you know, people who maybe had their opinions and their passions, but they weren't necessarily taking action. I think the pandemic's shown up so much inequality and so much of the world that we want to change. And we've been just astounded by the strength and resilience of all the volunteers who, through all their own challenges, have taken this time specifically to think, okay, what can I do, what more can I do? Maybe I'm furloughed, maybe I'm homeschooling, but I just want to change something for someone I don't know. So we've been amazed by that, but also the resilience of the young people, like Emma. I don't know, for us, thinking back to school, it's such a precious, important time. Whatever experience you had, it's your world, and to have that taken away has just been, I know, so tough and such a big challenge. And just young people's courage has definitely kept us going and inspired the team at the Girls Network.
Definitely, yeah. And last but definitely not least, we've got Emma from the Girls Network. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Emma?
Hiya, yeah, thanks for having us on. So it's been absolutely mad this year. It really has. Going from probably the start year 11, because it was pretty much the start. I didn't really have year 11 because of COVID, unfortunately. So leaving year 11, I managed to, because I'm massively into photography at the moment, I absolutely love doing my photography and I really enjoy it, and I managed to have one of my photography pieces put into the National Historic Archive.
Wow.
Cool.
Which was a massive achievement for me. I didn't even expect it, because my auntie actually put the photo in. She was just like, oh, by the way, I put your photo in, there you go. And I was like, oh, right, okay, that's cool. Not knowing actually what it was, and then it came out that because it was out of, I think there was 500 photos, and then it was the top 100 photos, and then you had actual photographers come in and look at different photos, and they chose the top 10 out of the entire archive, and my photos got put in the top 10 as well.
That's amazing.
So,
wow.
Which I absolutely love.
That is such an achievement.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So that's probably the biggest thing that's probably happened in the past year, and then throughout that I've kind of kept up to date, so I've been doing kind of teenage things, I guess, so just watching Netflix, reading books, going out with my friends, things like that. I'm also on Air Cadet as well, so I enjoy just doing that. It's a weekly thing, and then we've started back up again doing weekend activities, and then there's a few camps in the running, so I'll be going away quite a bit, and then I'm doing NCS in 2 weeks. I don't know if you know what NCS is, but if you do, I'm doing that in 2 weeks' time, and then I'm doing a university programme as well the week after, so I've got quite a lot on for over the summer.
Oh, goodness.
What is NCS?
So NCS is the National Citizen Service. You can, at the moment you normally go away, but because of COVID and stuff you can't go away, just safety and health reasons. So what we're doing this year, it's a lot of social action, so going to the likes of food banks and helping them out, or setting up social action plans, which can be centred around mental health, or can be centred around things like this, and just going on podcasts and talking to people, different things like that. It's massive, and I massively enjoy it because I was able to make new friends. I met my girlfriend through NCS, so it was really good doing it that way as well.
Amazing.
Yay.
Wow.
My little brother does NCS.
Oh, does
and
he?
he loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a brilliant thing. I've got so much going on. What kind of photography do you do?
I do a wide range of photography, to be fair. I don't really stick to... I thought when I first started out and thinking, I'll just stick to black and white, but then I really found the use of colour quite important, because I started doing a lot of black and white photography, and then I switched up doing black and white, but say for example someone was wearing a red coat, I'd isolate that colour and then just have the red in the photo, or just have the green or purple depending on what's going on within the image itself. But then I started branching out and doing nature and doing kind of big landmarks and stuff, so I took a lot of photos of Pension Monument, for example. That's one of my favourite places to go down and take photos, Pension, because it's quite, as small as the area is, you can get a lot of images out of it, which I absolutely love. So yeah, and then I'll put them on my photography Instagram account, and then I'll upload those to there.
Oh, very cool.
That's really
I love
cool.
Emma as a
Check 'em out.
background. She's got her photos and her
Yeah.
tea in the backdrop.
Yeah, I've got a full wall of photos there. I've got some of those are me photography pieces over there, so those are me black and white ones, and then on my door I've got different artists, and then different artists and bands, and a massive Harry Potter nerd as well, so I've got loads of like photos of Harry Potter.
We're big Harry Potter fans on this podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Honestly, I could talk about Harry Potter for days, the amount of theories.
Have you been to the Harry Potter studios?
Yeah, I have. I went, oh God, when did I go? I think I went about 2019. I think it was during the summer I went. It was honestly amazing. I'm determined to get down at Christmas though. I really want to go down when it's done all Christmassy and stuff like that as well. I think my mum's taking us down to see the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the play, for me 18th next year. So that'll be really good.
Both parts.
Yeah, both parts.
Oh, very cool. Love that.
Cool. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I actually went to Harry Potter just before lockdown happened in January, I think.
Yeah.
In 2020.
Is it good?
It was really good.
Was it?
It was amazing. Oh my God, you guys have to check it out. I mean, literally, I was there the whole day. And I wished I could have like proper dinner on the big table, you know, where you see them in school.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
really beautiful.
Definitely.
Actually, we went during just the Christmas period had just finished, but they had the Christmas decor up. And it was so pretty. So it's definitely a Christmas thing to go to. Yeah.
So, Attika, tell us about your journey into becoming a journalist and how you got into the industry.
Oh my gosh. You know, when people ask that question, it's always so difficult to answer because there's never sort of a straight answer as to how it sort of happened. My sister says to me, she believes that I want to be a journalist because I did her 6 o'clock news once, and it triggered within me that I wanted to become a journalist from then onwards. But I don't know, to be honest. I've always had a passion for media. I was very much of a film geek, like since I was born probably, because I used to have this black and white TV in my bedroom, and I used to watch every film, whether it's a Bollywood film, which I wasn't allowed to watch when I was a kid growing up. I don't know why, I asked my parents. And then I used to have this black and white TV in my bedroom. I used to watch all sorts of films and TV shows. So I was driven by the media world, like films and stuff. And I don't know, I think when I was studying my law degree, I was like, do I really want to be a lawyer? I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but I was like, do I really want to be a lawyer after studying it? And I was like, well, I still can help people if I become a journalist. So I kind of did my master's and in Attika, I did international relations, and I was planning to work for like a NGO. And I don't know why. I just thought, you know what, let me just send my demo to a radio station and see how it goes. My only experience was really radio presenting on student radio at University of Surrey when I was doing my law degree. And I didn't have any other experience. I was like, how are they going to really give me a job if I have no experience? So I just thought, you know what, let's give it a go. So I sent my demo through and they said, oh, yeah, come in. You have a very good radio voice. I don't know what that meant when you're 21. What does that even mean? So I went in and they said, right, okay, let's interview you. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? So I said, well, I want to be a journalist because I want to give people a platform to have discussions where you can't always have. And that's where I think my interest sort of came about, because I really wanted to be a human rights lawyer or a criminal lawyer. So I thought, well, I can still be a human rights advocate through media. So yeah, the journey started in radio, and it wasn't a very easy journey because I had to do like a month placement, and then they said, yes, you've got the job now, and I was like, yay, my first job as an afternoon radio presenter, journalist on a national station, where literally if I had a sick day off, everybody would know I was off work. I was like, this is so weird, but it was really amazing. I mean, that's really where my journey started in radio, and then I kind of went into TV. I don't think the journey was really ever planned, to be honest. I just kind of, I worked towards a goal, but I just kind of thought, let me see how it goes. And, but yeah, like I faced lots of challenges, but I really enjoyed the journey. And it was difficult at times because I didn't have a media background like everybody else. And one time I went for a job interview at the BBC, and they said to me, but you don't have a postgraduate degree in journalism. And I was like, so do I need to have a degree to be a journalist? Because I need to be able to ask questions and to be able to listen and be curious. And that really made me want to work harder, because I thought, right, this is it. I need to do something. Why did he say that to me? And it was a very sort of old mentality, old attitude that you have to have degrees to do certain things. I don't believe, and if anyone's listening to this, to be a journalist, you should have to have a degree, because really the skill sets you get from being a journalist is listening and to be able to ask questions. And you don't get taught that. That's either you learn from your experiences or you have it in you. So I finally did end up at the BBC. And cut the story short, funnily enough, I met one of my colleagues who, the editor at that department, and I'm not going to mention which department it was, said, "Oh, you've done really well for yourself." I said, "Thank you very much. I pretty damn worked hard for it." There were obstacles in between all the journey, but you know what? It was really rewarding, and I realised that someone from my background, there's not many women like us. My family originates from a place called Kashmir, and they were far and few, and I felt like I was doing it for the women. I was like, I need to do it for the women, because it's really important there is a representation of that. And at the time I didn't think about it, but as I was moving into my journey and my career, I realized how important it was. And I think when I landed at the BBC, I realized how more important it was to have representatives like myself. And change still needs to happen in the journalism industry, but I got there, and I'm still facing challenges and obstacles all the time, but that's part of the journey. You're gonna face that. But I love what I do, and I wouldn't change the world for it. I hope that's answered your question. It's so weird being interviewed. Normally you interview me.
Yeah, I hate being interviewed. No, that was brilliant. And one of our questions actually just that links to that is like, how is it? Because obviously, the industry that we all work in can be quite a male-dominated industry. So how have you found that, like you said, you did it for the women, which is amazing. Have you had any challenges with that? Or has it been, have you ever had any obstacles that you've had to overcome?
Well, you know what? We're always going to face challenges as women, no matter what industry we're in. And I once, funny enough, tweeted, Priyanka Chopra, she's an actress in Bollywood and crossed over to Hollywood. She tweeted once about the colour of her skin, how she didn't get a job because of the producer said you weren't quite right. So I tweeted back saying, what a great article, really loved what she had to say. And I said, I have to work twice as hard than my white counterparts. Suddenly I just get this tweet trending on my Twitter, and people began to be really racist on that tweet and said, so you're saying that your white colleagues are really lazy? And I said, no, that's not what I was quite saying. And then I had these two sides, that people supporting me and then people really bashing me. And it was really true, because what I said for the first time, I never really got to say it. I was always sort of not afraid to say it. I've always said what I wanted to say, whether it was in front of your face or in a meeting. But on social media, I've never really said what I've always want to say when it's personal to you, because sometimes you just don't know how people are going to react. And so I did, and I felt good, but it felt like, as in, people didn't really understand what I had gone through and the challenges I was facing. And I can say, away from the media world, having been in politics myself as well as a woman, I have noticed, and I will say this outrightly, white middle class men who feel that someone like me, who was entering the industry quite young, had no knowledge or expertise. But that's not true, because what I'm offering is going to be on a different level to somebody who's 50, 60 years old. Obviously, with experience, you're going to gain and get that knowledge. So it was always very much like a man's world. But then, having said that, though, most of my mentors have been men. I have never had a woman mentor in my life. So I can't say that men haven't really been supportive when they have, because men have pushed me. But it is a man's world that we live in, and there are obstacles and challenges that we're going to ultimately face. I don't think specifically there's a man who stopped me from doing that, but it's a very male, as you girls know, it's a very male-dominated industry. In behind the scenes and in the front, you see more men doing lead characters or lead roles, or even behind the scenes, you see more female directors. And that's sort of why I started doing stories about female women, like women empowered stories through my journalism career. Throughout the BBC, if you see some of the stories, there have been very much discussions around women, like the lack of female directors, why there's things such as male and female boxing, why are we having these sort of discussions around the world of media in terms of women. So my stories have derived around that because I guess from my own personal experiences. But you know what, as long as we have like the Girls Network and the rest of us working towards the goals and challenges, we can make it a much more easier place for the younger generation.
Yeah, definitely. I like the way you were talking about how there's lack of female directors and stuff. I don't know if any of you watch Marvel or anything like that, but as well as Harry Potter, like I like Marvel and things like that. And I often see kind of like either tweets or memes or anything like that, where it's like you can tell the difference when it's a female director who's directed it and a male director, based off how some of the characters are portrayed through the show, or how some of the characters are portrayed on the films, for example. So I know the likes of the new series Loki, that came out, that's done by a female director, and I've watched kind of Marvel throughout, and I've watched the likes of Harry Potter and stuff, and I can massively see the difference between a female and a male director. Not saying that the male director is better or worse and vice versa for the female, but there is definitely a difference.
The vision is different. What a woman sees, what a man sees is very different. You know, how you visualize certain things. How I speak to you women is going to be very different to how a man is going to be speaking to you girls. You know, it's just that connection that we have, and our minds are functioning very differently. Our emotions are tapped very differently. You know, we are women at the end of the day. We have different sort of emotions and feelings, and we're much more passionate about certain things than men will be. I mean, we've always, you know, history has taught us it's always been a man's place, you know, and women have always been sort of put behind the back seat. But now things are changing. You know, women are coming in the forefront and are changing things, and good for them, because they've helped paved way for us. You know, where we are today is because of some of these women. So I mean, I hope to see more women. I hope to see more women from my background, and not be afraid, because so many women from my background, because of the challenges they know they might face, they don't want to enter the industry. And I even forget my background. I think just generally women feel afraid to try something that's outside the norm or the box, and sometimes trying to do something different, you know, is always going to be hard work, you know, but that's accepted, right? We've got to do the hard work to get the fruits of it all.
Definitely.
I would say, like, a lot of the girls from the Girls Network, like yourself, Emma, like how aware you are with what's happening in the world, and how aware you are with what changes need to be made, and putting them to action, which is incredible and helps us older women, you know, do the same. And you guys are kind of our inspiration, which is wild and amazing.
Yeah, I really appreciate the fact that I've got a female mentor through the Girls Network, because I know when I first met Claire, we were able to connect on, I guess, female experiences that you, like, a man would never experience, but females would probably understand a bit better. So I know we've had discussions on the likes of a Sarah Everard case and all of that, and what that means for us and all of that. And I think especially I take inspiration from women in TV shows and women in films. So the likes of yourself, Alicia, your work in Fate. I absolutely love that show. I watched kind of like the cartoons of that show when I was little, and then I've grown up and I've watched that, and I think the portrayal of women through that and how powerful you all are in that series is a massive thing, because I'm sat there watching it, I'm thinking I love it, because it is just showing female power.
I agree to that.
I'm glad. Thanks, ladies.
Yeah, we had Claudia, the casting director for Winx, on one of our episodes, and she was saying how amazing it was for her to be able to cast 5 strong female leads in a show as well, because that doesn't happen as often as it should. So I think more of that to come. It's just exciting, and there's definitely a shift happening for sure.
Definitely. Emma, your goal is to become a criminology professor. Like, what interested you about that? I know, Attika, you were saying you were in or trying to do criminology or wanted to. So, Emma, if you're going to do it full pelt, give us some info.
Yeah, so at the moment, what got me interested in criminology, because I've always been the one to want to find out information. It's like, if something's going on, I kind of want to know what's going on. So even if it was like friends were talking about something and I just jumped in the conversation, be like, oh, what are you talking about and stuff, and I always like know what's going on. And then I think it was developed through my A-levels, because I'm currently studying criminology, psychology and history. So with the criminology A-level itself, that's where a lot of the interest developed from, because it was learning about the different theories and learning about why someone does something, and then how that connects through psychology. And then we're now moving on to more about the law and how it can be corrupt, or how things go wrong and how it's dealt with, or when things go right and why they go right, which I think is a massive thing, especially in certain cases to do with harassment or things like that. So I think with all of that, criminology is definitely developed from there. And then moving on to criminology professor, I realised that I absolutely loved teaching quite recently, actually, because I've always enjoyed it, but I never realised, oh, this could be a career, until I think it was my girlfriend who pointed out, do you realise you absolutely love teaching? I was like, yeah, I love it. It'd be like, do you realise how good you actually are at it? I was like, oh, I'm a good teacher. And then I kind of picked up on things. I was like, oh, I talk about teaching more than I thought I did. So I was like, okay. And then I started looking into it. During the recent weeks, I've started looking into it, and it's definitely right for me, because I could talk about criminology theories for absolute years. I really could. I could talk about it forever. And then with the whole side of law as well, I could talk about that for ages. So yeah, and I think combining the teaching aspect as well as the criminology aspect, and then I've always wanted to teach higher up. I've never really wanted to teach kind of A-levels or secondary or primary. I've always kind of wanted to go university level, just because I really like seeing the light bulb click in people when they're like, oh yeah, I've got it. And I really like seeing that in people, because it's like, right, I've done something right because they've now clicked. Especially with the likes of being able to do your own research through uni, it's nice seeing what other people come up with and what other people research on a subject that you're teaching, because you get floods of loads of different perspectives that you probably wouldn't have thought of yourself.
And you also want to do your photography like as a side as well as doing that?
Yeah, so I set up ECAD Photography, which is my current photography Instagram account. So I set that up probably at the start of last year. So I started doing photography around that, and then I gave a lot of time to my photography Instagram account, because I really, really wanted to develop it and make sure it was nice and fully developed. And then I started realising I was getting a following base from it, and I think I'm up to it. I'm really appreciative of all the followers I've gained through my photography account, because I know photography is one of those things where you don't really see it on Instagram, because you see kind of Instagram influencers and big movie stars and things like that who people have like thousands and thousands of followers. But even when I've gotten like 50 or 60 followers, I'm amazed, because I'm like, oh my god, these people actually like my work. And it's a massive thing to me, because I absolutely love doing photography, so being able to share that with people just means that I'm able to show my love for photography through my Instagram account. So when people go on there, I want people to feel accepted. So I've just recently completed a pride project where I got a group of my mates together who were all part of the LGBT LGBTQ plus community, and I did a full photo shoot with them, and then it all went on my photography Instagram account. And I think within that day I had so many comments just flooding through how much they loved the photos, and I had private messages saying thanks for the support, thanks for showing that you support, because you don't see it as much as you should. So I really love doing that because I'm making people feel comforted and accepted, and I want them to know that my photography is a place where they can come to feel accepted.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. And it's so nice to have that goal alongside doing what you also want to do too, because I think so many people often think, you have to limit yourself. If you choose a certain career, then that's what you have to do and you can't do anything else. But actually, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I think when I set it up, I wasn't expecting to even gain probably 10, 15 followers. I thought it'd just be a couple of mutual followers and then that'll be it, but I'll still post. And then I started to gain the following, and I said to myself, I was like, look, I now need to make a difference with my photography because people are going to notice it, people are going to notice what I'm doing, so I now need to make sure people want to actually come here and feel, and as long as they feel safe and accepted within the community that I want to build, then I'll go from there, and then it's all been up from there.
Definitely. Nat, how does it feel listening to all of that? You must feel so proud.
Yeah, I mean, at the Girls Network, it's always about uncovering what's already there, and that's the roles of the mentors. And we'd never claim to. We're not responsible for the wondrousness of people like Emma, but it's sometimes about a mentor and a network can help you to recognize some of your talents, and even just, I've noticed in my career, sometimes even just having one person recognizing something that you're good at, and you, like you were saying, Emma, with your girlfriend pointing out, it's something that you probably knew about yourself, but having someone else validate it and verbalize it helped you to recognize it, and then feelings turn to plans, and that's what then makes life and career happen. So yeah, it's all about potential that's already there, and I think we've already said how inspiring and incredible teenage girls are, and I've noticed that people in the media have started talking about crediting teenage girls even for things like fashions. Like, so many fashions and trends are like derivative of teenage girls' style, and we don't credit them enough. And I think what I've learnt working at the Girls Network is young people, as you were saying, Branwen, like, they have so much to say, they have opinions, and actually I think they're the best kinds of opinions, because I don't know, I feel like I've learned from our mentees and ambassadors who have such a strong sense of justice and a strong sense of right and wrong, and I don't know if there's almost like a lack of cynicism perhaps, but it's not to say they're not very realistic and informed. So yeah, that I've just learned so much, and it's amazing every time we're able to hear more. I wish we could hear so much more from each of our girls on platforms like this, and that's why I think the podcast is also so amazing, because it gives us this time with people like Emma to learn a bit more about their passions, and it's an age where you make so many connections, isn't it? Like you're saying, Emma, with criminology and photography and creativity, but career aspirations, and you're starting to learn about yourself, and it's such a so many moving parts, and it's just really exciting and hopeful, and like, gosh, we need a bit more excitement and hope in the world, I think.
What advice would you give any females?
Stick to your intuition and go what feels right for you, because I know as a female, I'll go, say for example, because with my ethnicity and with wanting to go in the military can be quite a male dominated place, and I'll know I've chopped and changed kind of ideas of where I wanted to go with that a couple of times, and chopped and changed career aspirations. I know with a couple it's been like, oh, you're aware that there's probably no females within that career, and then I'll go, yeah, I want to be the first, and I've stuck to my intuition and I've worked towards that and I've got it. obviously not the crate itself because I'm only 17, but kind of the aspiration was there until it kind of like changed or whatever the case may be. And then one quote I absolutely love is the fact, one quote I absolutely love, it is from Doctor Who, and I was watching the episode and it just came on and the quote was, a person who is 20 can live their life more than someone who is 50 or 60, and I think that is such an important quote because it is very true. Someone can live their life more in 20 years than someone who's lived their life in 50 or 60, depending on what you do. So go with your gut and don't let anyone else lose you.
So true. I love Doctor Who.
Don't we all love Doctor Who? Brings back childhood memories.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Emma, you know. Yeah, I agree with Emma, where, you know, go with your gut instinct. I think sometimes human beings, we can forget in a moment what we can do. You know, God has blessed us with this wonderful big brain of ours, which we don't even use half of it. And part of our journey is to understand and learn, but also to be persistent and resilient. One of the things I've learned, and people always said to me, oh, you're so persistent. And I said, yes, because if I sat around and nothing, I would never get what I want in life. You know I had to be persistent. And I always say to other women, you've got to keep believing in yourself, despite the obstacles, despite the challenges you're going to face every single day, because we are going to, you know, no life is perfect. We all know that. Somebody said to me today, asked me a question. So they said to me, have you felt sad, and why have you felt sad? Has there been a moment where you felt sad? Because every human being feels sad. And I said, you know, I try not to feel sad often because I like to think of the positive side of it. But the only thing that makes me sad are my parents, because I know that they're not going to be here forever. And that moment when I think about my parents, they're not going to be here forever, is make the most of each day, you know, to be grateful for that day, to be waking up every morning, to be appreciated, to breathe the basic air that you can breathe, and to take life as it comes. You know, you are going to face battles every single day. There are going to be people stop you from achieving your dreams and your goals, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. And I think sometimes there have been times where people have stopped you from doing what you want to do. And there's lots of women who will probably think, I can't do that because someone told me that. And that's what Emma was saying. You've got to go and believe that you can do it. And having women like ourselves, I mean, we're all doing here today, having this discussion, we're supporting each other, aren't we? We're listening to each other, we're taking, you know, information from each other, we're feeding off each other. This is just the beginning of just having dialogues and conversations. But yeah, I would say to all the women, persistence and resilience, and don't ever give up. Keep on believing, keep on going through life, as in you've got it in your hands.
Yeah. Or as you've both been speaking, I've sort of been thinking about something that my mum said once, which was, you know, people always say like, oh, live every day as if it was your last. And my mum was always like, no, live every day as if it was your first. And I really like that because it sort of gives you more of a sense of, I don't know, making plans and being curious and being like wowed, and even like taking your time, like slowing down. And I think there's just I find so many more positive connotations and more like useful and fruitful potential in thinking about it that way. So that would be my advice to any woman.
And spending less time on our phones. We spend way too much time on our phones as human beings. Connect with people. You know, I was just saying to Alicia and Brown earlier, I said we can't meet like this all the time. We aren't connecting with people anymore like we used to. You know, when I was a kid growing up, I mean, Emma wasn't even born then. You know, I used to go and play on a bike, you know, and play hide and seek and just do those simple things in life. We've forgotten that, the basic things in life as human beings, you know, just to enjoy life. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in, I must achieve this and I must do that. If I don't get it done by 30, I'm going to be too old. If I don't get it done by 40, I'm going to be way old. Age is just a number. I'm saying that because I'm in my 30s. And age is just a number, because as I've got older, as I see myself in my 20s, I see myself so differently in my 30s. I wish someone told me in my 20s, Attika, just take it easy. Why do you constantly have this goal, this goal, this goal? it was working career that I was so focused on. Then I look back now and I thought, what was I even worrying about? You know, I'm so much more content in my life now, you know, because I believe in what comes will come your way. You know, you can knock on doors 100,000 times. If it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. There will be another door open for you. You know, so that's how I think you should live life.
I love that, because I think when you're young, school tell you, oh, if you don't get these GCSE grades, it's the end of the world. If you don't get your A levels, it's the end of the world. If you don't get a degree, it's the end of the world. When realistically it really isn't. Yes, for the career I want to go into, I do need a degree, I do need to go into education, and I do need to stick at it, but I absolutely love it, and I absolutely love staying in education, but I could easily go a million different routes into so many different things. I could one day turn around and go, yeah, I don't want to be a criminology professor, I want to do photography for the rest of my life, and then change it, have all the random degrees that I'd have, and then just go a completely different route, because that's one thing as young people we don't get told. I was never told in school that, say for example, I failed my GCSEs, I couldn't resit them in college, when a matter of fact you can resit them when you're in college, because college will get you through it. And then it was a case of A levels now. I'm getting told it is all centred around everyone going to university. There's nothing around straight into careers. There's nothing around budgeting or anything like that. And I think life lessons is one of the things people need in life experience as well, because the best people have the most amount of life experience. They really do, because I would rather have a million one careers and have, I don't know, one degree, but have a story to tell, than have a million and one degrees, but go, yeah, I studied this, I studied that, and then that's my entire life. I'd rather have a story to tell of random crazy things that I've done, or random crazy changes that I've made in my life.
And degrees are just one part of your life, you know. I mean, I did 2 degrees. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm now a lawyer with that degree, or you know, it's your own experiences, like you said, that you get from life when you're putting your heart and soul into something. I think society has made us believe that you must have children at a certain age, you must be married, you know, there's always this pressure of you must do this. You shouldn't live your life for other people. You should live your life to how you want. And I think society needs to start changing their standards and accepting that, and allowing people to have that, to be able to breathe, to have that space. You know, we don't have that space. I mean, I was saying to my team the other day, guys, don't dump everything all at once at me, because I need time to take it in and process information. I also need time to breathe and have some space. And sometimes people don't realize that. I think sometimes they think, oh, well, you know, she can do everything. She does everything. Just pile up on her. But, you know, I don't want that. I want, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm taking a slower pace in life. I've taken this step back, and I think lockdown has taught me a lot how working is not everything for me. My health is more important. My family and my friends are like really important, and I need to continue that journey by taking a step back and enjoying life a little bit, because I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah,
but I hope I am.
Well, fingers crossed.
we hope you are.
Check in with me tomorrow.
Oh, that's such great advice from all of you. Really, really good stuff that you're all saying. It's just inspiring to hear, and especially like Emma, with you, you know, being your age, not that it makes any difference, you know, as to what you have to say, but it's just so inspiring to hear you talk about how you know that if you change your mind in the future, then it's absolutely fine. Because I think you're right, like so often in schools and stuff like that, we're just not told that. We're kind of made to think that it is just one way and then that's it. So yeah, it's really great to hear all of your stories.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
Well,
yes,
it has been lovely. And thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. It's been an absolute treat. And this is our final one. So thank you for joining us.
Well done, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.